What's happening, BE3?
Welcome and good afternoon.
You've got Mr. Jeff Beggins here and
Mr. Craig Beggins here.
The title of this one's fun, and I think we're going to get right to the point of it. And it's We Love Whimpy Agents. And what do we mean by We Love Whimpy Agents? And I think it's really simple. We love Whimpy Agents because when we get a chance to negotiate against them, we do extremely well.
Yeah, our job's not to make people feel good. Our job's to represent our client and get the job done in their best interest. And other, if you want to call them wimpy agents, just kind of show up and la-di-da, let's make everybody happy. But that's not necessarily our job.
And one of the things that aggravates me a lot in this industry right now is the fact that most brokerages and agents just totally downplay the ability to represent.
Well, it starts in a real estate license school.
Right.
You know, actually, an agent company the other day, the instructor told them that it was a bad idea to offer single agent. Everybody should be transaction broker and everything will work better.
And the interesting thing
about that's who's educating our peeps.
Because they also, instructors most of the time work for companies that don't use agency to their advantage. So I think there's a little bit of internal BS in that whole scenario.
Yeah, let's clarify what we're talking about. So a buyer wants to buy a house, a seller wants to sell a house.
Mm-hmm.
Can't we just all be happy?
Yeah, you can. And that's the complete demise of the real estate industry if that happens that way. And that's the way it's been going, which has opened the door, pardon the pun, to a lot of companies like the Open Doors and the Knox and the iBuyers and all these things that just say, hey, real estate, buyer wants to buy, seller wants to sell, we'll give you a fair offer, let's just sell the house. And doesn't matter, you know, an agent's an agent, you know, list with me. We'll do it for 4%. We'll do it for 3%. We'll do it for 5%. We'll do it. And everyone thinks the same it. Hey, you're a buyer, click on Zillow, select one of these agents. They're all just agents. Let me pick one. Who's got better reviews? Oh, that one seems like a nicer one. Click. And they just think it's the exact same scenario.
It's our fault though, because we haven't told anybody the difference.
Hence
which is why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly right.
You know, just as a rule, if you're in the audience, write this down. It's generally a bad idea for the buyer to price your home.
Ooh, say that one again.
It's generally a bad idea for the buyer to tell the seller what their home is worth. And why wouldn't you want an agent on your side? Nobody should ever sell their home. I love OfferPad. I love Open Door. They work for a lot of people. You should never sell your house to Open Door or OfferPad without talking to an agent first. Even Zillow won't do it. Zillow won't buy your house unless they send an agent out to give you a market analysis.
Right. But they've got a different reason.
They got ulterior motives.
Because they want the monthly fee from the agents to buy their leads.
To sell their leads.
But here's the issue that I have, and it's wrong, and I'm sick of it, frankly. You listen to the radio, you listen to the news, and people just talk about real estate as a commodity right now. Hey, you know what? You don't need an agent. I'll give you a fair price and close quickly. Give me a call, buddy. Right? We got your back.
Sucker.
Right? And so, okay, well, oh, you don't have a commission. You have a 10% servicing fee. Oh, okay. There you go. Oh, and a fair offer. I'll trust your CMA. There you go. Thank you. And, you know, frankly, they deserve it. If people are buying that, they deserve it. But I think it's wrong because most people who are buying that don't understand what they're buying because they think all real estate people are created equal and all real estate companies are created equal.
Fair, though. It does work for some people. You inherited Aunt Millie's house because she died. And you just want to be done. You don't want to clean it up. You don't want to deal with anything.
Yep.
It's just cash to you and your siblings because Aunt Millie left it to you.
And you're
so that could be an example. And you don't care about the 10 or 15% below market value.
Well, here's the point. Well, then I think you're kind of silly not to at least.
That was what I said at the beginning. You should never, ever sell your house to one of these iBuyers without getting a real estate opinion.
Because any real estate agent we'll buy a house for 15% under value.
Exactly.
Any of you want to sell your house for 15% under market value, call us.
That's right.
Right. Sold. That's the whole point. That's my point of that is representation has been lost in the marketing aspect because of a lot of Wall Street money is behind some of these companies that their entire mission is to blur the line of what all real estate agents do the same thing.
Right.
And if that becomes successful, most of our tribe watching here are real estate agents. You've got big problems coming.
Yeah, but I'm busy all day long answering problems that they don't say exist, but they certainly do.
Right. Let's do a couple examples. You and I were just talking before we did this of a couple of real life examples that are going on right now from a representation standpoint, right? So let's go from a seller side perspective. So
We have a seller who's a surgeon. His wife is going in for surgery this weekend. Closing is today. The buyer wants to do the walkthrough 2 days before closing.
Okay.
The seller does not want to be inconvenienced. He's getting his wife handled, ready for her surgery.
Okay.
What's our job? It's be really nice to let him in. The house is empty. It's
Right.
really nice to let him in.
Well, it's whatever they say, because we represent just the seller, right?
We are a single agent for the seller.
So we have obedience. So it's whatever the seller tells us to do, we have to do. That's
Exactly.
our job. And that's the fun part. So that's up to him. Whether it's nice or fair, doesn't matter. It's whatever he likes.
He said no.
Same situation.
But this is the wimpy agent situation, because the other agent is pissed, 100% pissed that we wouldn't let them in on Thursday. And we can't do it.
Yep.
He told us no. We have no option. No, we could argue with him and try to get him to change his mind.
Similar situation we were just talking about over one of the beach agents. We have a $1.6 million listing, got from a door knock of an expired, by the way, just to kind of close that loop
Everything
here.
works.
And got it listed, got it under contract. We represent the sellers on single agency. It is as is. It's no financing contingency. It's cash. It's closing soon. And the inspection periods are over. Everything's good. The buyer wants to bring over an appraiser and a contractor. So interesting.
If he left the appraiser part out, it would be less interesting.
So yeah, that's where it got interesting. So this is as is cash, no financing contingency. Or cash doesn't mean cash, it means no financing contingency. Right. So why would you want to bring your appraiser out? So the alarms go off in the seller's mind, says, wait, nothing good's going to happen from this situation. What good can come from this? And the answer is really
nothing.
Nothing good's going to come from this scenario.
Because if he is checking cash, no contingencies, it doesn't mean he's not getting a loan.
Right.
And maybe he's nervous he overpaid and he can't get a loan. He's going to need more down payment. And
right.
It's cheaper to walk away from his deposit.
Which is where agency comes into play. 60 grand. We got $60,000 in escrow, which is painful to walk away from, but not like impossible to walk away from.
If you're paying $1.6 million cash, 60 grand isn't that big.
Right. You can handle it. So what did we do? We talked to the seller, and the seller said, look, I'm relocating my family across the country. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the inconvenience. When I'm out of here, I'm leaving, and he can come in maybe. But right now, I don't want to deal with it. I got kids in baseball. I got my wife doing her things. We're packing up. I just don't want it. They don't have any right to see the house. They saw it during inspection periods. We've done everything we're supposed to do, and they could see it later. And the answer is a hard no. And then so we talked to the seller.
And then you got to go tell the other agent it's a hard no, and they feel bad.
Like, why not?
Because the seller said no.
Right. So what we did on this case, from a representation standpoint, we said, we got an idea. If you guys really want in, there's a way to do it. It's going to cost you.
Suspicious that you're going to try to pull something and cancel, and he doesn't want to be stuck with another house where he's going to California to move.
Correct. So we said, give us $100,000 more, make it non-refundable, and you can come into the house. And so we wrote an addendum. Buyer gives the seller an additional $100,000 non-refundable, and then you can access the property. So they signed it, and they're good, and they're ready to go. And that was good agenting, because only one reason, it made the seller feel comfortable, because we have to counsel them. Here's the risk factors.
I'm a lot more comfortable.
They can decide they don't want to buy this house, and they can walk away, and your recourse is their 60 grand. 60 grand doesn't mean anything to the seller, doesn't mean that much to the buyer. So it sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but in the reality, anybody will walk from it, and it's not going to cure a problem. Because now, if that were to happen, the seller is going to be in California waiting on the equity from this house to close on his other house. If this house fell apart, he's now stuck with this house, and he can't buy the house in California. So for us to allow this to happen without more leverage put into place is not the right thing to do. So we just now 160
They opened
grand.
the door to renegotiate, and you took advantage of it.
Exactly right. But we could not have really done that
if you're not a single agent.
if we did not have the agency relationships that we actually have. So I think that's the point that I'm tired of. This is Open Door wouldn't do that, right? The Coldwell Banker doesn't do that. The other companies that don't have the ability to represent at that highest level cannot work with loyalty. So everything that I'm talking about is loyalty. And I know that the buying and selling public have no clue, for the most part, about what the difference in offering is. And because of the marketing that's pushed out there from the Wall Street companies that are in this industry right now, they are intentionally not bringing that up, because they don't want the sellers and the buyers to even think that's an option. Well, an agent is an agent is an agent is an agent.
Let me remind the audience of, I believe it was 1986, don't hold me to that, but they changed the agency laws, and they took away dual agency, and they brought in our current transaction broker situation. Yep. And when the real estate commission made that decision, we had an obligation at first substantive contact to explain to the consumer the 3 agency alternatives, and then they had to pick one. And we had to have that signed, and we had to hold it with our file, and the real estate commission would come to our office, go through our files, and check our contracts to make sure it was an agency disclosure in every one of our files. And it said, this is what a single agent does, this is what a transaction broker does, this is what a non-represented agent does. And the buyer had to sign it at first, right up front. And that went on for years, and we had to maintain these files. And then it was probably, oh gosh, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, they took away and said, well, the public now knows what a transaction broker is. We're going to change the law and say agents are always transaction brokers from the onset. So they changed that law and they took away the disclosure. So now the public's wandering around going, we don't know what a transaction broker is.
Everybody is the same from the public's eye right now.
Right.
And this is Florida law, by the way, for those who are watching outside of Florida. So, but it's the concept is still the same. But I see a lot of agents that are running around not legally representing their clients, and they pretend that they do.
That's really where it gets dangerous.
So let's talk about the danger. So let's say
my buyer. You should never use the concept my buyer when you're a transaction broker,
because you don't have one.
You don't have a buyer. You are a transaction.
So the agent says my buyer will not pay an extra $10,000. There's no way we're going to come up on our offer.
Are you a single agent with this buyer? You're acting like one.
So then let's go from a listing perspective here. So if you're my seller.
Here's a great one I wanted to make sure we have time to bring this one up. Okay. From a listing perspective, agents love giving as-is offers. Right? I've been a broker for more years than I want to repeat. I hate the as-is. I love it as a buyer because I can cancel if I don't want it. But as a seller, it's a game. But an as-is contract is one that says, hey, seller, here's my offer. If you accept it, you don't have to make any repairs or anything.
It means as is.
It means
we're
as
going to take it as it is, termites and everything.
So I accept it as a seller, and then you do your inspections, you can come back and ask me for money. So we love wimpy agents that let sellers do that. I'm training our agents. I'm sorry, we actually just put a clause into our .loop that says a buyer acknowledges that their as-is offer is as is. Any attempt to request repairs will be considered a reopening of negotiation, and seller reserves the right to cancel the contract. And I sent that out today, and our agents are chiming my phone like, that's a great clause, can't wait to use it.
Yep.
Right? Because it's a renegotiating. I'll give you $1.6 million for your house, Jeff, as is. And then I come back and say, I want $200,000 in repairs.
Yep.
I want you to say, non-wimpy agent, I'm sorry, you offered me $1.6 million with no repairs. You want to, I'll do the repairs. Give me $1.8 million. Because I accepted your offer as tendered.
There's wimpy brokerages in this marketplace, and I don't mind saying it, that are teaching their agents to do explicitly just that.
There's one
put in the as-is contract and then go back and try to beat them up for repairs later. Right? That's just terrible. Bring it on. It's wimpy and it's wrong, and it doesn't have any agency, and I believe it violates some agency issues too, because you can't come back. Where's the loyalty on that aspect of a negotiation? So I mean, I think the ground is very fertile for somebody to shake this up and actually call out people on their.
Play this out with me. It's a normal sale. It's a $300,000 sale, as is, and we find out the AC is near the end of its useful life.
Yep.
And we come back and say, seller, we'll buy it.
I've got 2 grounded plugs that need to be fixed.
Let's just make it one issue. It needs a new AC. It's a $5,000 item.
Yep.
Had I known that you wanted repairs, I would not have accepted $300,000.
I took 300. I would take 305.
I would take 305 and give you a new air conditioner. So I would be not afraid to cancel that contract in the first place and then renegotiate. Come back with your 300. I'll counter you at 305 with a new air conditioner.
That's right.
Because that was what you offered me.
See, that's good agenting, right? That's the whole point of this whole thing. So as from a seller perspective, you get an as-is offer, counter back with that type of a clause.
No, sometimes your seller gets a little, well, don't lose the deal over it. Bullshit. Slap them.
There's another deal. Don't get attached to the outcome. This is a wimpy deal, right? So that's the whole point on this. So now let's go deeper. So I get that offer for $300,000, and it's great. It's as is. It's ready to go. We counter back with that clause that says
any attempt to renegotiate is going to reopen negotiation.
We're accepting it as is. So now, before I even accept your offer, now this is where
the problem is the agents that are reading that clause won't even know what it means.
That's right. It's great. So, but before I even accept your offer, I'm going to say as a listing, I'm now, in this example, I'm a listing agent, single agent. You're an agent, not a single agent, not in our company, right? So you submitted an offer over to our brokerage, and we have the agency duty of single agency. So my job is to protect our client. So when I see your offer, I'm going to say, where's your pre-approval letter, first of all?
Right.
And I'm going to get it over here. Now, a lot of agents would think that's enough. Oh, good, he's a pre-approved buyer. That's crap, right? So
Call the loan officer.
Call them up and say, hey, Jonathan, loan officer, just got an offer from Craig on 123 Oak Street here. Let's talk about this one. How's your application going? Have you,
His credit.
Did you make a formal application? Did you pull his credit? Do you have his pay stubs? Have you seen his tax returns? What kind of loan program are you putting him in? Is he FHA? Is he VA? Is he conventional? How much down is he putting?
Well, because honestly, it's a wimpy agent who puts that buyer in the car anyway without having all that stuff done.
That's right. We just had a deal.
And waste time showing all of our good listings.
Over again, one of the beach agents just listed a property. We had 20 showings in one day, and we had 10 offers come in on the same property, right? Great market. So we got a spreadsheet out, and we looked at every single one of them, and we've got the price, how much escrow, financing, contingencies, pre-approval, anything special. Some people wrote letters, some people didn't, right? I mean, we got a really good thing. So then we were able to really compare apples to apples. And then so when I was going back with Mike, going through it with Mike, saying, okay, these three look the best, because you analyze
price, terms, prices, closing, risk.
So let's call these guys, let's call the loan officers, and let's figure out how serious these people are, right? Because the loan officer is a huge part of your team. And if you guys aren't on the same page from the beginning, it doesn't make any sense. So let's call them up and say, hey, Jonathan, it's Jeff, Century 21. Listen, tell me about the Johanssons. They're looking to buy this property. How deep have you gotten? Where are you? What's the whole deal, right? And say they're golden. Their credit's stellar. They can qualify for way more. This is where they feel comfortable with. Though this is the house on Oak Street. They really like this one. I really hope it works out for you. And I've got them on a great 10% down program. They're totally ready to go. Everything is golden. Now, I would feel comfortable with that conversation versus the other one who
I would actually recommend an offer like that, even if it was a couple $1,000s less.
That's exactly right, because you know it's going to be there. And they're going to put 40% down, right?
Sweet.
Now you even know that you don't have to worry about the appraisal as much because you've got that whole situation going there. So, but the point is you don't have to, and we love the wimpy agents who don't do this, so keep doing what you're doing.
But that's why they have cancellations much higher than ours.
You're right.
You don't do the diligence.
But I don't want to have our clients even take that asset off the market, because give me an offer, and if I don't have a good warm and fuzzy from your loan officer, I'm going to our seller and saying,
I'd rather be on the
Mike,
market.
I don't think we should take this offer. This guy's not serious. Let's give them a few days, and if they can come back and they made application, they feel good. Or if we do it, we're going to shorten their loan approval period down to 10 days, which really freaks out the other side, but it does what they need to do, because I don't want to take it off the market in the peak selling season when there's other buyers walking around on the marketplace right now. I'd rather wait until you're serious rather than hope and pray that you become serious. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, just to drill that home, when a house goes pending, it comes off all the websites.
Done.
It's done. So you're done. And then you waste 30 days for your loan approval period. The market's slowed down. Things have changed. Interest rates jumped up. Now you got to wait to find another buyer. So you got another 30-day possibly. Then you got to go through another 30-day loan approval period. So you're looking at a 60 to 75-day extension.
How could you sit and look your seller in the eye 30 days from now and say,
I'm sorry I didn't vet this buyer properly.
Sorry, didn't do their financing.
Well, the buyer's job to do that.
Right.
Not when you're taking an agency relationship with your seller. It's not. You know better.
And imagine that conversation. Did you not find out if they have their loan? What do you mean they don't have the credit? What do you mean they didn't approve for the loan? What are you talking about?
To watch this one. So this morning I talked to one of the agents in Tampa here. We're the buyer's agent. The listing agent is also a loan officer.
Okay.
And the listing agent said to the buyer, our buyer, if you do your loan with me, I'll give you $5,000 toward closing cost. Now that's interesting.
Okay.
Because the loan officer now works for the buyer. And the loan officer is the listing agent who represents the seller, maybe or maybe not. Maybe he's a transaction broker for the seller.
Right.
Right.
Transaction broker for himself? If he's the seller.
No, he's not the seller.
Okay.
He's the listing agent and the loan officer.
Wow. Okay.
But I thought it was interesting that the loan officer can represent the buyer in the loan capacity and be the seller's representative on the listing side or the real estate side. So it was interesting. I was talking to our agent. I said, first of all, I want you to address this person with the title. Bobby, as the loan officer, what's going on with this client? Bobby, as the listing agent, what's going on? I think it's very confusing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of games that are getting played out there. You talk about who's representing who. That one got a lot more deeper. But
yeah. So I think the point here is, if you don't work for us, keep being wimpy, man. We love it. But to be real in the marketplace, it's time for the change, because there's no reason people should be able to come in and get market share in an industry unless we let it happen, right? So from a for sale by owner perspective, for them not to know that when you hire us, these are the things we're going to do, right? This is the full disclosure, obedience, loyalty, confidentiality. This is how I vet my buyers. This is what I get for escrow. This is how all the whole thing and things that we teach our agents, right? If they need to know that's an option, it's just not fair to let them not know that that's an option. They don't have to choose to take it, but at least they should know that's an option. I mean, you go to the Mercedes dealership, you should know that there's a V12 AMG badass kick-ass package with the rims and the 14 cup holders, right? You
and
can
the emblem that shines off the side view mirror.
Right.
That's a
right.
good
Go
one.
to the Rolls and get the LED headliner. Know that's an option. You can choose to take the 1985 Yugo home, but you should know that there's a better option for you down the road. And my point is that people are trying to tell them everybody is the same car,
Right.
and it simply is not true. So I think we need to, as a profession, right, stop it and raise the bar and be professional. And those of you who are not going to be professional, you will get out of the business one way or the other. And those of us who are going to treat this like a profession need to shout it and get out there and tell people what their options are. There's plenty of business for everybody that's good. And we're going to take it away from people who aren't good. And that's just the way that good markets will evolve.
That's how it works.
And so rising tide raises all boats. So what other parting words?
The thing that's driving me crazy a little bit right now is NAR's membership is up 38%.
Yep.
And home sales are up 23%. So we got a lot of brand new agents coming into this industry that don't have a shot of making it, and they're not getting trained properly, and we're having to deal with them because they have spheres of influences, and
we end up doing both sides of the transactions.
Where a lot of the Whimpy agents are coming from.
That's a great point.
Not being trained.
One of the agents that we were talking with this morning, the sales meeting here in this office, is saying, you're dead, right? You're brand new. You have zero street cred whatsoever. If you're trying to be an agent going to get business, first of all, you're silly to even have that mindset, because nowhere on your listing agreement with whatever company you're with is your name. So they're not ever listing with you, period. So stop trying to tell people that they are. They're never buying you. You're not on the contract either. So if you don't leverage the power of your brands or your brokerage or your manager or your coaches and all that stuff, you're missing the boat, man. You got brand new agents out there saying, we're selling a ton of homes. We're really good at what we do. Let us interview for the job to get your property sold.
Operative word, we.
That's the key.
Because brokerages used to be full of teamwork.
Yep. So that's what's coming back, is what I'm seeing, is the agents that are, I don't care if you're doing 30 deals a year, it's still not several thousand. So leverage the fact that your brokerage is doing several thousand deals a year, and it's better than your 30 or 40 or 50 even. And it's certainly better than your 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10, right? So leverage the team, because everybody makes money when you guys make money. So call you. And I know, man, our phones blow up all day long, helping people negotiate and talk and doing deals. That's just what we do as partners in these things. So get that support mechanism around you and get the people that are going to have your back, and make sure that you legally have the ability to have people's backs, guys. That's the biggest thing that I want to see happen. I would have a lot more fun going head to head with agents on transactions rather than wimpy people that don't even know how to communicate and negotiate back.
Well, the more you do, the more experience you get, the more examples you have to make things work. And we just have to have more of that. So,
and it's so clear to me, and I know you too, this is all a people and communications business. So when you learn how to really connect with people and realize whether they're DISC, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, you got their tribe, their tempo, their feeling, their world, and you throw a full level of representation on top of that, it's a deadly combination. And that's what our clients deserve, and your clients deserve that. If you can't give that to them, then get somewhere that you can, and make sure that you're bringing people the level of what they want to preserve your business and this industry, and to provide the lifestyle and the funding for your lifestyle that you guys want.
Well, I think while we're just talking this, maybe in closing for me, we have to remember working with other agents is part of the job, and treat our other agents well. I had to deal with a guy today who was just treating our agent like crap, and over stupid, ridiculous things. And he didn't take the time to listen. He was just over-representing his client, who wasn't even there, making big deals about holes in walls. That was nothing. And just made it a miserable experience for our agent. And, when we learn to communicate better, he should have just stepped back and say, whoa, is this important to the buyer or not? He just acted as if it was and didn't even consider what the buyer was thinking.
And was it really his client?
I don't even know.
Interesting question too. Because if he's making a stink to try to get the seller to do something for his buyer, if he wasn't in that capacity, there is no buyer. So he's just barking to the air because it has no teeth, because he has no legal ability to try to get something from the seller to give to his fake buyer.
I
So
had nothing to
sometimes
say. By the way, how do you represent this buyer? Huh?
Yeah, that's a lot
the
of fun
question
to do.
I get.
So rising tide raises all boats. That's the name of the game. So sharpen up the skills. Let us know we can help you in any way, and give us some feedback. Let us know what you think about this topic, and we can go way deeper and way deeper and way deeper if you guys want. So
We'll have more examples in the next 20 minutes.
that's right. Return all these texts. Here we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.